This dog had only 10 seconds left to live, but it stubbornly refused to close its eyes because it was still waiting for its beloved owner to return. When the familiar voice reached its ears, Bailey instantly became alert, sensing the depth of his owner's grief and reluctance to let go. But his life had reached its end. Too weak to show affection, he could only wag his tail softly in response to his owner, and then he closed his eyes forever. When Bailey opened his eyes again, he had been reborn as a puppy. He waited quietly for a long time, but the familiar figure of his old owner never appeared. Later, a kind woman adopted him and brought him home, but her boyfriend despised dogs. Bailey was ultimately forced to live in the backyard. As seasons passed, no one cared for him. Finally, one day, the woman's boyfriend removed Bailey's collar, put him on a truck, and told his girlfriend he was taking him somewhere better. But instead, he abandoned him in a vast, empty wilderness. However, Bailey didn't want to return there anyway, so he began surviving on his own like a stray. After wandering around, he came to a park. Watching other dogs with their caring owners, Bailey's heart filled with loneliness and longing. Just then, a familiar scent washed over him, instantly awakening all of Bailey's memories. He immediately resolved to find the person who truly loved him. He traveled a long distance and arrived at a farm that felt both strange and familiar. He saw his old owner's house, as if fate had guided him there. Bailey excitedly ran into his owner's arms, but time had passed swiftly. The once cheerful young boy had become a lonely, weary man who couldn't recognize this stray dog. He thought Bailey was just a stray passing by. He gave Bailey some food, but refused to let him inside because the pain of losing his beloved dog had made him swear never to have another one. But Bailey remained patiently waiting at the door. Eventually, the man's heart softened, and he made an exception by letting Bailey inside. The next day, he bathed the dog, clean of all the dust, and named him Buck. That evening, Bailey curled up blissfully beside his owner, but he clearly sensed the loneliness and regret still hidden in the man's heart. Bailey suddenly remembered the girl his owner had deeply loved in his youth. So the next morning, following a familiar scent, he ran until he found the woman, Hannah. But Bailey couldn't speak, so he could only follow Hannah back to her home. Eventually, she recognized him too. When Hannah saw her ex-boyfriend's name written on Bailey's collar, long-buried memories flooded back to her heart. Meanwhile, the owner thought Buck had just gone for a walk, unaware that the dog was bringing back the woman he'd always longed for. The moment he saw Hannah, the man recognized her, but he no longer had the courage he once did. He didn't dare face her. Just as Hannah was about to leave, thinking no one was home, Bailey suddenly barked loudly and scratched desperately at the door. Using all his strength, he brought the old lovers back together. Finally, the man opened his heart. Bailey had successfully reunited them, but he still harbored one unfulfilled wish. He wanted his owner to know he was Bailey.
Wait, didn't Bailey used to do that?
Yeah, it's a dog thing.
So he followed a scent into the shed and retrieved the football he and his owner had played with since childhood, staring at it meaningfully. The man also recalled many childhood memories. He threw the football hard, recreating that perfect understanding and coordination they once shared without words.
No.